5 years ago, I grew a YouTube channel from 0 to 70,000 subscribers and made over 6 figures as a coach from the clients I signed because of it. In this video, I'm about to show you exactly how I did that step by step so you can get great coaching clients on YouTube too. Let's dive in. So step number 1, the first thing I did when I launched my YouTube channel was I got super clear on a specific group of people that I could help, my niche. I think of a niche as a group of people with a gap. In other words, they're at point A and they want to be at point B, and there's some kind of gap in the middle. So in my case, I have a background in music. I studied audio engineering in college and came out of school and was an audio engineer for a couple years. And I realized that there were a lot of other musicians out there, people who were trying to record their own music at home and make it sound like the music they heard on the radio, but they were having trouble making that happen. Their stuff didn't sound good. And so I saw that there were a group of people out there who I could serve with my knowledge and skills and experience because I had learned so much about how to make music that sounded really good, people who had a challenge or problem that I could help solve. And this ended up being my niche. So my first YouTube channel was helping musicians learn how to record and mix their own music and make it sound professional. So there are thousands of great niches out there. Obviously, the perfect niche for you is going to be different than the right niche for me. But looking back, I'm really glad that I chose one because I think this was one of the biggest keys to actually standing out and really making a deep connection with a small group of people versus trying to just put out like generic content that would appeal to everyone. And I think today of the perfect niche as the intersection between your knowledge, your skills, your passions, your experience, and a group of people who want and need something. So if you haven't chosen a niche already, I would ask yourself, number 1, what are my passions or skills or interests or things that I'm really good at? And number 2, what are some groups of people out there who might have those gaps that I can actually address with my skills? And that's gonna give you so much focus and clarity in terms of creating content for your YouTube channel and just making sure that you actually attract great clients who are gonna be a good fit to work with you. Now, if you're someone who needs more clarity on your niche, you don't have this dialed in yet, actually put together a free YouTube video that walks through the same process we use to help our clients get super clear on exactly the right niche for them. Watch this completely free. You just click the link above and go check that video out. Now, once I was clear on who my niche was, I started creating content on YouTube and recording videos. And over a couple years and creating hundreds of videos, I learned that there were really 3 keys to success when creating videos that would actually get subscribers and also get people who were reaching out to me saying, hey, Jason, I want to work with you. Number 1, big key to success, and we'll talk about these more in a second, is I needed to create content that my niche actually wanted to watch. Number 2 is I learned that I needed to create content that positioned me as what I call a likable expert. We'll talk about what that means in a second. And then number 3, I needed to create content that YouTube wanted to show to other people. So let's kind of break these down and talk about them a little bit more in detail. Number 1, creating content that your niche wants to watch, pretty obvious, right? In order to get people in your niche to watch your videos, there has to be something in those videos that's valuable for them. So asking yourself, what are my niche's biggest challenges? What are the things that they really want? And really getting clear on those pain points and those desires, and then figuring out, okay, how do I create content and videos that help those people solve those problems? As an example, I am a business coach today. I help, other coaches get clients. And so I create a lot of videos that break down how to get coaching clients and share, helpful tips in terms of marketing to help my niche, right? So these are videos that people want to watch because of that, because they're adding value to my niche's life. And the same thing goes for your niche. So really asking yourself, what are those things? One of the most helpful things I did in the early stages of my business was I had a lot of conversations with people in my niche, and I asked those people, what are your challenges? What are the things that you really want? And I got super clear on what those things were. And then I wasn't guessing when it came to putting together videos. I knew that these were things that people really wanted and needed and were struggling with. And so I was able to create content that really landed and resonated with my niche. And those videos were actually watched and searched for and sought out as a result. The second thing I learned, really this idea of creating content that positioned me as a likable expert, is that it's not enough just to create content that your niche actually wants to watch. When they do watch it, they also have to walk away feeling like, wow, this person really knows their stuff. And also I like this person. So people want to do business with people they like, and people they trust can actually help them solve a problem, right? So you have to feel some level of connection with me in terms of actually watching my videos. You have to feel like, oh, Jason, is someone I could see myself hanging out with. So this is where just showing up as yourself, being authentic, also sharing stories from your life, letting people into who you are, not being afraid of sharing those things, letting people know about your lifestyle and your passions and also where you live, and maybe if you've got family and kids, like being able to integrate those pieces into your videos so that when people see you, they can actually build a relationship with you on a human level. That's number one. And then number two, really important, that expert piece, making sure that when people do see your videos, they get that sense of like, wow, you really know your stuff. So this can be through teaching or educating or sharing mistakes or myths that your niche might believe, or just talking about your experience or the clients that you've worked with. You know, when I say things like I've helped thousands of coaches or I run a multi-six-figure coaching business, these are all things that build credibility and trust with people who are watching my videos, right? So I learned over time how to do this more effectively, and really thinking of how do I create content that positions me as a likable expert is super important, because if you don't have this piece in place, you might be able to get a lot of views and people might even find your videos really valuable, but no one's actually going to reach out to you and say, hey, I want to hire you. And then number three, super important, is making sure that you're creating content that YouTube actually wants to show people. So when you can start to understand how YouTube actually works and what kind of content it actually wants to prioritize and show people, that's when you can start creating content that's more specifically designed to meet those goals. And when you can view what you do as creating in partnership with YouTube, that's when you can actually start getting more traction and your views are going to get more visibility. So what I learned was there's really two fundamental things that actually matter on YouTube in terms of getting content in front of people. Number one is click-through rate. In other words, YouTube has all this content and its job is basically to keep people engaged on the platform as long as possible so it can show as many ads to them as possible and make money. That's how YouTube works. So when someone's scrolling through their YouTube feed and YouTube has all these different options as to what videos they're going to put in front of people, if they have a video that only gets like a 1% click-through rate, in other words, they show it to 100 people and only one person clicks on it, versus a video that gets like a 5% or 10% click-through rate, 5 people out of 100 or 10 people out of 100 actually click on it, which video do you think YouTube is much more likely to show? Obviously the one that gets the higher click-through rate, because if YouTube can actually get people watching a video, they're much more likely to stick around and spend more time on the platform, which again means YouTube can show them more ads, which means you've got to have a really good thumbnail and a really good headline. Those are really the two things that influence your click-through rate. You have to have a thumbnail that really grabs people's attention, and also that headline that makes someone really want to watch something, right? So paying attention to those things. What I learned initially was I used to think of headlines or thumbnails as an afterthought. It was like I would make the video and then that would be kind of the thing I thought about at the end. But the more I learned about YouTube, the more I realized that those things are actually some of the most important things, because you could have the best video in the world, but if no one's actually clicking on it because you have a crappy thumbnail, it doesn't really matter, right? So I started paying more attention to those things, and that really helped. The second thing that I really started paying attention to, and this is something when I started understanding this, I was like, oh, I get how YouTube works, is YouTube prioritizes content that keeps people engaged longer. Because again, the longer you can keep people watching videos, the more ads you can show them. So if YouTube has the choice between showing someone a video that on average, people only watch 2 minutes of that video and then they click off to something else, versus a video that keeps someone's attention for 10 minutes, well, of course, YouTube's gonna show the one that keeps someone's attention for 10 minutes, right? So average view duration is a very important metric to pay attention to on YouTube. In other words, how long is your content on average keeping people engaged? Making sure that your content has no fluff in it, making sure that it's really keeping people's attention, that you've got stuff going on in the video, that it's not just like a static shot of someone, but you've got, you know, motion graphics, or you've got things happening so that people pay attention, they keep paying attention for longer. If you look at Reels, you can get a sense for some of the ways that people do this, right? So it's quick cuts. It's like there's a lot of stuff happening, open loops that are creating curiosity. Like when I say something like, well, in 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you about this thing, but before I get there, let's talk about this. These are all tools that you can use to keep somebody engaged in a piece of content so that they watch for longer. Super important stuff. So these two things at the end of the day, click-through rate and average view duration. These are the two most important metrics to pay attention to when it comes to creating your content. And if you can get better at creating content that, number one, people actually want to click on, and number two, keeps people engaged for longer, that is the magic secret to getting more visibility and getting more views on YouTube. The third step to success when it comes to actually getting coaching clients on YouTube is something that I actually learned when I was in high school. And I spent a lot of time, in high school, I was a singer-songwriter and I played a lot of shows around my neighborhood, and I had an acoustic guitar and I sang songs, and I built up this audience of people who were following me on MySpace at the time, because that was the big social media platform before Facebook. I had all these people that were following me, and then One day, MySpace disappeared and I lost the connection that I had with all of those followers because they were on MySpace. And I had no direct way of communicating with them. When you're creating content for YouTube, the people who are watching it are on YouTube. YouTube can do whatever it wants with those people, right? So you have no way of directly communicating with them. Versus if you can create a bridge that brings people back into your world, into your email list, into a place where you can communicate with them directly, it's gonna be much easier to build deeper relationships and connections with them. And also, regardless of what might happen down the line with YouTube, maybe the platform goes away or something happens, you're gonna be set no matter what, so you don't lose your audience. So the best way that I found to do this is to put together a lead magnet. This is like a freebie, like a guide or free training or something that's really juicy that people are gonna really want, and then to tie that to an email list. So in other words, you pitch the freebie in your videos, and in order to get the freebie, somebody goes to a page where they have to put in their email address, and then in exchange for the email address, they actually get access to the free guide. And once this person is on your list, then the other key is you gotta communicate with them. So sending out emails frequently where you're sharing more value and warming people up and delivering lots of helpful information to them. You can also just send out your YouTube videos to those people. This is something that I do today in my business a lot. It's a great way of continuing to warm people up who are now on your email list. So that's a great strategy as well. Now, speaking of freebies and guides, if you're watching this right now, number one, you wanna just understand on a deeper level, like what this all looks like and how this all works. And number two, you're a coach who wants a simple roadmap that you can follow to help you get on track to sign 2, 3, or 4 high-paying clients month after month. I put together a free client attraction guide that walks through a roadmap that I've shared with thousands of coaches at this point. It's really powerful stuff, and if you apply this, you'll be well on your way to creating success and clients and income consistently in your coaching business. I'd love to share this with you. It's completely free. You can click the link above or in the description down below if you want to check that out and download that. And I would recommend doing that for 2 reasons. Number one, because it'll show you how this whole process works. And also because that free guide is one of the most valuable resources we put out in a while. And I hope you decide to check it out because I think it'll really help you. So click that link above or down below to go download that now. So all this being said, you do a good job at this. You're bringing people onto your email list. The next thing is the unsexy thing, the thing that nobody really wants to talk about, which is step number 4, rinse and repeat. It took me several years of creating consistent content on YouTube before I started getting significant traction. The truth is that in the early days, especially, you're gonna try a lot of things, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and a lot of the early content that I put out, it's like, did okay. But over time, there was this snowball effect, and just me showing up consistently and creating content, what I did was I committed to 1 video a week. So I was like, rain or shine, I'm gonna put out 1 video a week. At times I did even more than that. And in my business today, our goal is 2 videos a week on this new channel. And so just continuing to actually create content on a consistent basis and rinse and repeat. And also looking at how you can make little improvements in everything that you're doing, paying close attention to things like click-through rate and average view duration. These are metrics that today in my business and on our team, we pay very close attention to. We're always kind of trying to figure out how we can improve our videos and make things better so that we can actually get more watch time, more engagement, and more views as a result, right? So these are things that you can optimize over time. You're not gonna be very good at any of these things when you start. So the key is that consistency to rinse and repeat. And I would fully expect that it's gonna take you some time to get traction. But the thing that I love about YouTube, and one of the reasons why we're doubling down on this in our business personally right now, is every single video that you put out into the world is an asset, and an asset that continues to work for you even when you're not working. So the videos that I put out years ago in my first coaching business, those videos are still generating leads and still generating clients for us, even though I haven't touched that channel in years at this point. So it does take quite a bit of time up front to get good at creating content. And obviously recording videos is a lot of work. And at the same time, it's one of my favorite ways to get coaching clients, because once you have an army of videos out there kind of working for you, you've got that consistent lead flow coming in the door, and you can go take a vacation or you can take some time off and you don't have to worry about, stopping your lead flow, right? There's still gonna be that consistent flow of traffic coming in the door. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're a coach who wants a roadmap that you can follow to get on track to sign 2, 3, 4, or more high-paying coaching clients month after month into your business, I definitely recommend that you download our free client attraction guide. Walks through so many helpful tips and a framework that you can apply to get on track to make that happen. Again, it's completely free. You can click the link above or in the description down below to go download that now. And if you enjoyed this video, you're definitely gonna love that one too. So go click the link on the screen to check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.